el Vele, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 173 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Alex. What's up? All right, so I know that this is one episode of the week. I also know that it's tomorrow's Sunday, so you guys are going to be getting this Sunday morning. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody that with your significant others or, with yourself. Always love yourself as well. God bless you guys. Just been a hectic week at work. Been getting home too tired to give you guys the energy. Stuff getting in the way and stuff like that. So, and then, of course, Valentine's Day with my lady. So, back at it here to break down another boring Super Bowl. First boring Super Bowl since Broncos Seahawks, since that destruction. And this was another destruction. This was another D-line dominating O-line, dominating D-line for one side, and none of the plan that Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, or Spags had, or Chris Jones had for this game worked. Nothing worked. The Eagles never blitzed the whole game. Never blitzed. Got 6 sacks out of it. Mahomes was never comfortable. 2 first half interceptions. One that he should never have thrown, that Cooper DeSean took it for a pick 6 for his first interception and pick 6 of his career. The other one by Baun after getting hit, after Patrick gets hit on his left side by a bull rush by, I believe it was Josh Sweat, that basically took Joe Tooney all the way back there while they were deep in their end zone. Where the Kansas City Chiefs, they picked that off. It was 17-0 then, turned into 24-0 at halftime. Kendrick killed it. People didn't like it because most people in the rural United States don't know some songs of Kendrick, but he did not like us, and it was amazing. Loved the show, to be honest, and then it was just more of the massacre in the second half. It got all the way to 34-0, and then 2 kind of measly touchdowns at the end. A long ball to Xavier Worthy, and the drive that ended in a DeAndre Hopkins touchdown. But other than that, nothing special for Kansas City at all. The three-peat is dead. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Nick Sirianni, Vic Fangio, Jeff Stoutland, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeSean, Zach Baun, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith Jr., Josh Sweat, CJ GJ, Darius Slay, Brandon Graham. They're all Super Bowl champions. They were the better team. This was what was expected of the Eagles. The only reason that they weren't favored was because they were facing Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, especially coming off a bye, but none of that mattered. Why? Because the offense for the Kansas City Chiefs just did not get it going. We had some early drops by Travis Kelce. D-Hop dropped one. So did Hollywood Brown. That would have kept drives going. And they couldn't run the ball. They ran the ball a grand total of 3 times in the first half. 7 times for the whole game. Just no rhythm, no offense, never really had the ball. It kind of reminded me late first quarter. It kind of reminded me again of the Tampa Bay Super Bowl where the D-line was just dominating that O-line just consistently, and the defense just got more tired and more tired and more tired. He threw a bomb to Devontae Smith to basically end the game to make it 34-0. Jalen Hurts did. He threw a little crossing route with a pick to A.J. Brown. Saquon didn't score. Their first score was a tush push from the 1. In the first half, there were a couple calls that either shouldn't have been called or and there was a couple calls that should have been called. Those could have swung at least the beginning part of the game, but I think it was inevitable for the Eagles to win this game on the back of just Jalen Hurts and that O-line and that D-line. The D-line was, to me, the MVP. The MVP was Jalen Hurts, deservedly so. But I think that overall this was a team effort in every sense of the word, and the sum of the parts was way better. Well, not even. Talent and overwhelming size is what won this Super Bowl over finesse. Even when they got close to Hurts, they couldn't bring him down. He escaped, got 15 yards, first downs, kept running the clock. Saquon couldn't do nothing. Didn't even get to 100 yards. Spags basically sold out to stop him, and he was not going to stop him, that he was not going to beat him. But back shoulder passes to A.J. Brown one-on-one against Trent McDuffie. One-on-one deep ball against Trent. It might have been against Jalen Watson or the safety, Justin Reed. The Chiefs had no answer. Excuse me, by the way. The Chiefs had no answer for anything. And for a guy that, loves the Chiefs and wanted the three-peat and everything, it was very disappointing to see him go out that way. If we go, it was 40-22, but it wasn't really that close. Like I said, it was 30. Let's see here. That's 17 plus 7 is 24 plus 10, 30. Yeah, it was 34-0, and then the Chiefs scored, went for a 2-point conversion, didn't get it, 34-6. And then the fourth quarter, Chiefs scored 16, but it really didn't matter because it was all in garbage time against not a very determined defense. It was a 40-22 game. Jalen Hurts scored on a tush push with 6:15 left. Jake Elliott got a field goal. It was 10-0. Cooper DeSean returns the pick six, 17-0. A.J. Brown, the crossing route, 24-0. That's halftime. That's basically over right there. And the little bit of hope left from the kickoff at halftime for the Chiefs didn't even matter. They stopped them 27-0 with a Jake Elliott field goal. Then you have DeDonta Smith on the 46-yard bomb. 34-0. Game's over at that point. Xavier Worthy catches a touchdown, failed 2-point conversion. Jake Elliott hits another field goal, 37-6. Another field goal from 50, 40-6. This shit's over already. DeAndre Hopkins catches a 7-yard pass to make it 14-40, and Xavier Worthy catches a bomb of 50 yards to make it 22-14. Mahomes went 21 for 32, 257, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Not very good. Jalen Hurts just went 17 for 22, 221, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 1 rushing touchdown. Didn't really have to do much, just had to be efficient. The leading rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs was Patrick Mahomes at 4 carries with 25 yards. Jalen Hurts ran it 11 times for 72 yards and the tush-push touchdown. Xavier Worthy showed that he could maybe be their number 1 or 1B once Rashee Rice comes back next year. 8 receptions, 157, most of that in the second half. 2 touchdowns. DeVonta Smith went 4 for 69, and that bomb touchdown. But this was literally the defense. Like, it was, when I tell you that Mahomes got sacked 6 times for 31 yards, that wasn't, he finished with a QBR of 11.4 and a 95.4 rating. They ran the ball 11 times as a team for 49 yards. Just nothing at all. Xavier had 157, but Travis Kelce had 4 for 39. DeAndre Hopkins had 2 for 18 and a touchdown. Just nobody could do nothing. Patrick also lost a fumble late in the third. Creed Humphrey fumbled even though Patrick, I think, recovered that one. And then the defense just couldn't do nothing. You had 1 sack by Drew Tranquil, 1 sack by George Karlaftis, and that was pretty much it. Brian Cook caught a pick that could have been very important, but they got 3 and outed right after that, did the Chiefs, so they did nothing with it. And then that's it. It was a massacre, guys. It wasn't enjoyable at all, to be honest. 17-22, 221. He had a QBR of 75.4, a 119.7 rating. This talking about Jalen Hurts. He ran 11 for 72 and a touchdown, led the team. Saquon went 25 carries for 57 yards. So nothing really. Devontae Smith went 4 for 69 and a touchdown. A.J. Brown 3 for 43 and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert only caught 2 balls. Saquon was 6 for 40 on the ground. Milton Williams recovered a fumble that he caused. And then you had Josh Sweat with 2.5 sacks. You had Jalix Hunt, the rookie, with half a sack. You had Jordan Davis was a sack. Milton Williams with 2 sacks. Like, it was just like Jalen Carter had no sacks. He was just there. Cooper DeSean picked it off, returned it 38 yards to the touchdown. Zach Baun picked it off, a good pick. And that was it. It was a wrap, guys. I mean, I wish I could tell you anything more, but it was literally just Kansas City came with a bad game plan, didn't stick to what got them there, which was the short intermediate routes. It looked like Kelsey might be on his last legs unless he goes back this offseason and drinks some elixir of some kind, because he looks slow. He looks like he's not getting off the ball in time. People say that this made Patrick fall on the totem pole. I still think that he's right behind Brady. I still think he's right behind Brady. I think he has more to win. But it's has to be the way that they used to win, I think. I think they have to go back to an explosive offense. I don't think this dink and dunk stuff is going to work in the playoffs against teams like the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the first thing they have to figure out is the offensive line, move Joe Thuney back to guard, and find 2 left tackles somewhere. Try to take a big swing for like a Laramie Tunsil, something, or draft up in the draft, even though this is a good offensive lineman draft, because they got mollywopped at the line. Mollywopped. No blitzes. 0. None. No blitzes. And sacked 6 times, pressured him more than 50% of the time. There was series that was 3 straight sacks, 2 straight sacks back to back. It was bad. It was really bad. We'll just see next year. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. They still have to contend with Washington. We'll see what Dallas does, which is I doubt it. They'll do anything. Giants, we'll see what they do. If they don't get a quarterback, I doubt they do anything. The Vikings certainly in it with J.J. McCarthy. I think J.J. is going to be their starter next year. You have the Falcons are intriguing with Michael Penix and that whole offense. They need to add people to the defensive side of the ball. We'll see what Kellen Moore does in the Saints. He got hired right after the Super Bowl with the Saints, so he just stayed in NOLA. It's a big offseason. There's T. Higgins out there. Stephon Diggs is out there. Hollywood Brown is out there. Myles Garrett asked for a trade. He wants out. Micah Parsons, are they going to pay him, or are they going to let him go or trade him? There is a lot. Stafford talked about with the Giants. If I'm Stafford, I stay with the Rams just because of McVay. So there's a lot of things going on. It was a great NFL season, an absolutely amazing NFL season, exciting. Records were broken. We had a Triple Crown winner. We had a 2,000-yard rusher. Josh Allen won the MVP over Lamar, which I don't know how that happens if Lamar is going to be the AP first team All-Pro and the same people voted. They voted Josh Allen as the most valuable player because he did stuff with less and stuff like that. But when you look at the numbers, history is going to look back at as basically a thrown away season for Lamar with no trophy, no nothing, just a first team All-Pro in his Hall of Fame career. Josh Allen gets himself a trophy after being up there in the top 3 for so long. Saquon wins Offensive Player of the Year, which basically leaves Jamar Chase, unfortunately, with a Triple Crown season with no accolades besides a first-team All-Pro. You had Arik Armstead won the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Joe Burrow won Comeback Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, of course, went to Jaden Daniels. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Jared Verse. Defensive Player of the Year was exactly as I predicted, Pat Surtain. Another corner wins it. The first guy since, I believe, Charles Woodson to win it, or Gilly, Stephon Gilmore. But it was a great season, guys. Ultimately, the Eagles came in as the most big, star-studded, best roster. Not necessarily the best coaching, but when you have the best roster and a good message and you put it all together and just bludgeon people to death, and at the end, you can switch game plans and still throw it and dominate at the line of scrimmage. That's all it takes, even to beat the greats as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid as convincingly as you did. Jalen Hurts is going to be talked about in different circles now. He is a Super Bowl champion. He is a Super Bowl MVP. He has outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both Super Bowls. Saquon is the greatest free agency acquisition ever. He just had the best running back season ever. He broke the record for most yards in a season for a running back in history. All he needed was 30 yards. He got 67, I think. He got 57, so he broke that. And A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith becomes one of the few guys in NFL history to win a national championship, a Heisman, and a Super Bowl in the same career. What do Kansas City do now? I think you really have to go get a number one. I think you go after a T. Higgins, maybe a Stephon Diggs. I also believe that you need to look at your offensive line and see if you only can, if by keeping Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Joe Tooney, and then scouring the draft and scouring free agency or maybe a trade for 2 tackles that will protect the edges. I believe Travis might be contemplating retirement. That's what it's swirling about right now, even though he said he would like to play 3 more years, or at least 3 more years. So we'll see what happens. He says he has to go back and regroup and think about it. I think Patrick is going to be better next year. I think Andy Reid's going to be better. I think Spags is going to be better. They really do need another edge rusher, another difference maker. If I was them, I would try to maybe go after Myles Garrett, maybe even try for Michael Parsons, maybe even try for Trey Hendrickson, somebody of that caliber to put next to Chris Jones. Get another legit corner. One more linebacker. Or maybe a dominant D tackle. Maybe in the draft you could find one as well. But, shout out to the Eagles. No hard feelings. It was a great season. You bludgeoned everybody, and at the end you bludgeoned the defending Super Bowl champion. So shout out to the Eagles. Shout out to Nick Sirianni. We can't talk shit about him no more. He's a Super Bowl winning coach, taking his team to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. So has Jalen Hurts. I'm really happy for guys like A.J. Brown, I'm happy for guys like the whole Georgia squad: Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Kaylee Ringo. Um, I'm happy for all those guys that they get Nolan Smith Jr. that they get to share, uh, along with the 2 rings that they got at Georgia for national championships. They share a Super Bowl ring as well, and congratulations to the city of Philadelphia as well. We'll see what happens next season. Next is the draft, the combine, and all that. We'll get into that as it approaches. But yeah, great season, NFL. As for legacies, I believe Patrick can still catch Tom. He's only about to be 30. He has 3. He needs 4 more to match him. I think he can get there. It's going to be a lot tougher not having this one and also not having the 3-peat. But I think that if they make the right strides and make the right moves, that they can get there. But it's getting a lot tougher. I think you still have to worry about Lamar. You still got to worry about Josh Allen. And, of course, the stuff that's coming in, your C.J. Strouds. And that's just on the AFC side. Your Joe Burrows, your Justin Herberts. Bo Nix, that we'll see about everybody else, but that's the threat right now for Kansas City. And now I think there has been a shift to what is a better overall opponent. It used to be the AFC were dominant because of their quarterback play. But now with this Eagles team being so young, 23, 24-year-olds, 22-year-olds all across that defense, I think that is going to be very interesting for the AFC to deal with that team, especially if Saquon stays and that offensive line is still relatively young besides Lane Johnson and Landon Dickerson. Cam Jurgens is young, Mailata, Lane is probably the oldest on the line. So it's going to be very, very, very fun to see what this Eagles team does, especially against a restacked Washington team next year. Green Bay is going to come back better. Chicago's going to try to come back better. Detroit is obviously going to come back with a vengeance, especially healthy on the defense, with Aiden Hutchinson and maybe an addition of Myles Garrett on the other side. That would be insane, but that it might be something they'd be looking into. But shout out to the Eagles on winning Super Bowl 59. All right. In baseball news, we have Bregman, Alex Bregman. You got to... Unfortunately, for me, I'm a Yankees fan. I'm also a Houston fan. He went to the Red Sox. So now, on a 3-year deal. So now, and there was a 6-year deal on the table. I'm guessing from the Astros, he turned that down to have the flexibility of the 3-year deal. What do I think about this? Now the Yankees have a way more of a threat in the AL East. And the reason I say that is because you look at the pitching rotation for the Red Sox with the addition of Greg Crochet, Walker Buehler, Bayo, and Cutter Crawford, and stuff like that. I think that, that's a solid. It's not going to be better than the Yankees. I think Max Fried, Garrett Cole, Rodon, Hill, and Schmidt is pretty legit. But I think that on the lineup side, that they definitely have some be able to cancel out what some of the Yankees things do. I think that having a Devers, having a Story, having a Rafaela, and now a Bregman with Duran, you're going against probably leading off Volpe, then probably Bellinger, then Judge, then Giancarlo, or maybe Goldschmidt in some place there. And so I think that their lineup is formidable. I think they're going to be great games. I still give the Yankees a slight edge, but it's a great get for the Boston Red Sox to get Alex Bregman on his way to be a future Hall of Famer. All right. Other than that, we have the Daytona 500 tomorrow. Really excited for that. That will give us an indication about how this season is going to play out a little bit. And then we have the All-Star Skills Challenge and 3-point happening right now. But I wanted to talk about a little bit about NBA now that we're going to get deeper into it. The standings at the All-Star break are Cleveland, Boston. Boston's 5.5 games back, but Boston's still playing that Boston style, so I don't expect them to fall off anytime soon. The Knicks have been playing incredible. The Cleveland Cavaliers have been playing great as well. They're 25-4 at home, 19-6 away. They've won 4 in a row. They're 8-2 in their last 10. 8-2 in their last 10 is also Boston. 8-2 in their last 10 is also the Knicks. I think that they just like separate themselves. The addition of Cat has been absolutely amazing for the Knicks. Brunson finally found his groove. Boston just has basically a 4 or 5-headed monster plus Pritchard coming off the bench. And then Cleveland just has an offensive onslaught, a defensive onslaught with Mobley and Jared Allen. And then you have Donovan Mitchell and now you have DeAndre Hunter, and Darius Garland. So I think it's just going to be a battle between those three for those 3 spots. Then you have Indiana, 13.5 games back. New York is 8 games back of the first spot. Boston's 5.5 games back. Milwaukee's 14.5 games back, just a game back of the Pacers. They're 4-6 in the last 10 because there's no Giannis. Detroit is the sneaky team this year. 15.5 games back, just a game back of Milwaukee. Detroit's been playing well. Ausar, Cade, no Jaden Ivey, of course, but then you have Jalen Duren. They've been playing really well. Malik Beasley's been shooting the shit out of the ball. You have Orlando in 7th, 18 games back. Now they have Paulo and Franz back. I think that will invigorate that team to move forward and really make a push at the end of the year. Atlanta is 8.5 games back. They're in 8th. Miami is at 9th, tied with Atlanta. Is it possible that we missed the playoffs this year or even the play-in? Yes, I believe so, especially with what the moves we just made, getting rid of Jimmy. It's going to be a very, very hard thing to score points, in my opinion, with this team. We might be a defensive juggernaut, but our offense is going to greatly, greatly be awful, and it wasn't great to begin with. Chicago is 10th. Philly's 11th, 24 games back, 2.5 games back of Chicago. Very disappointing. Feel bad for Tyrese Maxey. Joel Embiid is not himself. Paul George has been absolutely terrible this year. Just a cluster. And Brooklyn is actually tied with Philadelphia, 24 games back in the 12th spot. Then you have Toronto, Charlotte, and the Washington Wizards. I think they're just Cooper flag hunting at this point. And then in the West, where it's actually interesting, even though Memphis is 8 games back of OKC, OKC's 44-10. They've won 8 of the last 10. Memphis is 36-18. They're 8 games behind. They've won 7 of their last 10. Then you have Denver up there in the 3rd spot. They're 8.5 games back, just a game back of Memphis for the 2nd spot. They've won 8 of the last 10 and won 8 in a row, actually. Houston, the other surprise team on this side. It's funny that both of the Thompson twins are on these teams, Ausar and Amen. Amen's playing great. He might be a future superstar. 10.5 games back and 4th. They've lost 7 of their last 10, though. The Lakers are 5th. Just a half game back of the Rockets. They've won 8 out of the last 10. The Clippers are playing well now with Kawhi back. They're 6th, 13 games back. Minnesota's 14 games back. I've seen Ant really pick it up these last few weeks. Let's see if he can keep going. They've won 6 of the last 10. Dallas is 15 games back, but also AD's hurt with an abdominal, so we'll see how Clay and Kyrie can keep it up. Sacramento, 16.5 games back in the 9th spot. They 5-5 in the last 10. And then Golden State is 10th, 16 games back, tied with Sacramento. They've won 6 of the last 4 with Jimmy. Looks like they're going to figure it out and going to be fairly potent. I just don't know if they can work their way up. They're only 3.5 games out of the 6th spot, but they have to pick it up quick. Phoenix is 18 games back, another disappointing season with a Kevin Durant team. Beal hasn't worked out. Devin Booker's not moving the needle much. They don't have interior size. They started Bol. We'll see what that happens. San Antonio's 20 games back, 2 games back of Phoenix, finally finding their level. After the trade with De'Aaron Fox, they could be a play-in team, but they have to pick it up. Portland's just 1.5 games behind San Antonio, and then you have Utah and New Orleans just absolutely in the dumps and not getting anywhere soon. One's too young, and the other one just had so many injuries and just don't play together, honestly. At the halfway point, you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the league in scoring at 33 points a game, 32.5, rounded up. Giannis is at 32. You have Jokic at 30. You have Tyrese Maxey at 28, and Anthony Edwards at 28 a game. Trae Young is at 12 assists a game. Jokic is at 10 assists a game. Cade Cunningham has 9.4. LeBron's at 9. James Harden's at 9. Steph is making 4.4 of his threes. He's only about 30-something away from 4,000. He's about 300-something points away from 25,000. Just cementing the last little bit of his legacy in these last few years. Anthony Edwards is hitting 4.2% of his threes a game. LaMelo's at 4, but he's injured. Malik Beasley, like I said, he's hitting 4 a game. And Brandon Miller, even though he's hurt, he was hitting 4 a game. Sabonis is averaging 15 rebounds a game. Cat is averaging 13. Zubac, 13. Jokic, 13. Giannis, 12. Victor is averaging 4 blocks a game. Walker Kessler, 2.4. Anthony Davis, 2.4. Brook Lopez, 2. Daniel Gafford, 2. And then in steals, it's still Dyson Daniels averaging 3. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averages 2. Tyrese Maxey averages 2. Jokic averages 2. Cason Wallace, he's hurt right now, but he averages 2 as well. Moving forward in these last 30-something games, I expect the standings not to move a lot, especially in the East, because there's a little bit more separation. There's going to be movement, definitely. I can see if the Knicks get hot, possibly get to Boston. They're only 2.5 games away from them. Boston can maybe make a really big push at the end, even though I don't think they want to get that number 1 seed from Cleveland. But the movement's going to be for anywhere from 4, 5, 6, and potentially 7 and 8 and 9, because 22.5 to 15.5, I think that's too much to cover for Chicago. But from Miami, which is 18.5, back to Detroit, which is the 6th seed, and Indiana, the 4th seed, at 13.5 back, I think there could be a lot of play there, and we'll see what the 76ers happens. In the West, I think it's going to move a lot. Not necessarily OKC. They're basically number 1 seed already. But between Memphis, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for sure. There's going to be movement there. It's 8. It's from 8 to 13 is 5 games. Yeah, so it's 5 games. So that's doable. And then from 7 through 10, that's only separated by 2.5 games. So that's definitely going to happen something. And then Phoenix and San Antonio still have a fighting shot at 20 and 18 games back respectively. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. As for NASCAR, Bubba Wallace won the first duel. Austin Cindric won the second duel by inches. And to be honest, I'm looking for I'm looking for a Kyle Larson, a William Byron. I'm looking for a Hendrick car to do something. It's been kind of dominated a little bit by the Toyotas and Fords. So I'm looking, even though William, I think, won last year. But I think I'm really looking for one of the Hendrick cars to win tomorrow. We'll see. Other than that, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for joining me for episode 173. I love you guys. Hit the notification bell, comment, follow me on all my socials. You guys keep me going, even though I know I've been like delaying a lot and don't put out sometimes and everything. Is just, with this new job, like and traffic really like bogs me down mentally. But I'm gonna try for you guys, especially coming up with combine season and MLB. Really excited and heading down the stretch of the NBA season and the playoffs. So and Formula One gonna start, NASCAR gonna start. So I'm really excited about that. And IndyCar. So I love you guys. God bless. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And I leave you all with the outro.
El exec, el vele, el vele.